There's a moment on what's supposed to be the happiest day of your life, when something shifts. Not loudly, not suddenly, but quietly, like a crack forming beneath something you thought was solid. And you don't notice it at first, because everything looks perfect. The smiles are there. The laughter is there. The music is playing at just the right volume. People are watching you like you're living a dream. And maybe for a while, you believe it too. But then something happens. Something small. A question. A look. A tone that feels just slightly off. And suddenly, you're not inside the moment anymore. You're watching it. From a distance. Like it's happening to someone else. Tonight, I'm lying in bed in my wedding dress. Still still surrounded by flowers that haven't wilted yet. And yet, everything feels heavy. Unreal. Almost contaminated. Because instead of replaying my vows, or the way my husband looked at me when I walked down the aisle, I keep replaying something else. Over. And over. And over again. A glass being raised. A voice filled with something that didn't sound like love. And a word that should have meant everything. Twisted into something ugly. Congratulations. And now I can't stop asking myself, was it me? Did I cause this? Did I ruin my own wedding? Without realizing it. This wasn't supposed to be a complicated day. We didn't want that. We avoided it on purpose. No giant ballrooms. No hundreds of guests. No pressure to perform happiness for people we barely knew. Just 41 people. 41. That number mattered to me. Because every single name on that list was supposed to mean something. Or at least, that's what I thought. The ceremony was Catholic. Simple. Quiet. Almost sacred. There's something about that kind of silence that makes everything feel heavier in a good way. More real. More grounded. And when I saw him, standing there, waiting for me, everything else disappeared. For a moment, there was no past. No family tension. No complicated history. Just us. And I remember thinking, we made it. Through everything. We actually made it here. But families don't disappear just because you want a peaceful day. They don't pause their history. They don't suddenly become simple. They carry everything with them. Unspoken resentment. Old wounds. Invisible expectations. And sometimes, they bring it all to the worst possible place. My family isn't big. But it's layered. In ways that are hard to explain to people who didn't grow up inside it. Most of the complexity comes from my dad's side. A history of addiction. Mental health struggles. Silences that lasted longer than conversations. It's the kind of family where you learn early. What not to say. What not to ask. What not to feel too openly. Because honesty can be dangerous. There are only two people on that side who feel real to me. Safe. My aunt. And her daughter. My cousin. She stood next to me today. Not just as a bridesmaid, but as someone who actually knows me. Someone who's been there. Someone who didn't disappear. When I looked at her during the ceremony, I felt grounded. Like at least one piece of my world made sense. The rest of that side of the family feels distant. Not in a dramatic way. Not in a we hate each other way. Just disconnected. Like people you see once a year, exchange polite smiles with, and then forget about until the next time. There's one more person. My aunt. Let's call her Cassie. Cassie is complicated. She struggles with addiction. Has for as long as I can remember. We see her once a year. Christmas. Sometimes. Sometimes she shows up. Sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she's present, but not really there. And over time, you stop expecting consistency. You stop expecting connection. You just accept whatever version of her appears. She has a son, Jeff, and if I'm being honest, he feels like a stranger. We grew up technically related, but not connected. We don't talk. We don't share anything real. We don't exist in each other's lives. So when it came time to make the guest list, I made a decision. Not out of anger. Not out of spite. But out of honesty. I invited Cassie. Because sometimes you do things for your parents. Not for yourself. But Jeff. No. Because inviting someone to your wedding should mean something. It shouldn't feel like filling seats. Or avoiding conflict. Or pretending closeness that doesn't exist. And I didn't want my wedding to feel fake. At the time, it felt like a small decision. Almost insignificant. But some decisions don't stay small. Kathy didn't show up. And I wasn't surprised. Not even a little. If anything, it felt expected. Predictable. The ceremony ended. People hugged us, smiled, told us how beautiful everything was. And for a moment, I let myself believe. This is it. This is the day I'll remember forever. Then my mom asked me something. Did you invite Jeff? Just like that. No build-up. No context. And I answered honestly. No. And something changed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't immediate. But it was there. Her expression shifted. Her energy pulled back. And without saying much else, she walked away. That's when the feeling started. That quiet tension. The kind that doesn't explode right away, but sits there. Waiting. Later. During dinner. I finally heard something that made sense. My other aunt told me. Kathy didn't come because of her own issues. Not because of Jeff. Not because of me. And I felt relief. Real relief. Because it meant I hadn't caused this. So I went to tell my parents. I thought, this will fix it. They'll understand. They'll relax. We'll move on. They were sitting with my in-laws. Smiling. Talking. Looking completely normal. And for a second, I thought maybe I imagined the tension. But I didn't. Because when I told them, they didn't soften. They didn't pause. They didn't even consider it. They doubled down. They said I was selfish. Disrespectful. That I had embarrassed the family. On my wedding night. And something inside me shifted. Because in that moment, we love you. And I stare at those words, trying to understand them. Because love isn't always simple. Sometimes it comes with expectations, with guilt, with moments that don't make sense. And now I'm stuck between understanding them and feeling completely broken by them. So tell me, on a day that was supposed to be about love, when everything turned into something else, did I cause this? Or was this always going to happen? No matter what I did.